Hi, my name is Chima Blessing, and this is a fresh start. You will agree with me that the concept of self is somewhat the mainstream definition of what everybody else kind of like resonates with, right? More often than not, we've tied our self perception or self or the idea of who we are as a person to as what is socially accepted or what is what is the norm, what is everybody defining themselves as these days, right? But guess what? Today I'm going to bring you 3 tips on how to identify yourself, who you truly are, and how to be unapologetically yourself. You will agree with me that the definition of unapologetic has taken a different route than what it actually means, right? Because these days, unapologetic means your ability to be able to, walk around half naked, your ability to be able to use the F word and say, fudge this, fudge that, your ability to be able to, not live up to anybody's expectation. Like there is no some sort of accountability and responsibility as to, how you should behave towards other people. All of that has gone down the drain, and it's not the new definition of being unapologetically yourself. The ability to be rude, to say things without caution, to be able to, literally just say whatever you want and do whatever you want. I mean, that's even if it's bad or good, that's the whole concept and new definition of what being unapologetic is all about. First off, let me say this. I agree with the idea that if you live your life based on other people's perception of you, that is only a recipe for a lifetime dissatisfaction. If you're going to live your life to please everybody, like do something that pleases everybody else except you because you're trying to be a good person, yeah, trust me, that's a recipe for a lifetime dissatisfaction, because you're going to end up, or you're going to realize along the line that, oh my God, all I've done is live for everybody else except for myself. And that's the recipe for what? Unhappiness. Yes. Now, your number one tip towards this is first identifying your core values. Now, what are your core values? Your core values are those things or those values that you resonate with. And believe me, your values are traditional to you. They don't have to fit into the mainstream definition of what core values are. I will give you a very practical example. Now, your core values are things you would not compromise on regardless. Let me explain. For example, I used to hear this, peer pressure's got nothing on me. But guess what? Peer pressure got a lot on you. But your core value is what makes the difference. Now, I used to tell myself, like, there is absolutely nothing in the world that would ever make me smoke or drink or go into prostitution or some sort of those things. Like, regardless of how I am surrounded by people who do these things, I would never do it. Why? Because these are my core values. However, I can be influenced by other things. I'll give you an example. If you have a friend who is lazy, who enjoys not doing anything, and you're the hard worker, by the time you hang out with this person, over time, you get to buy into the idea of, why am I even stressing my life? Why am I always like, has this ever you to anything? And then you start to say, well, this my friend doesn't really do anything yet. They are happy. They seem to have everything going for them, right? Another example is, if you have a friend who is let's say for example, let me look, who likes a lot of clothes, like who is materialistic, you end up being materialistic because you don't have values around those things. So it's not that peer pressure has nothing on you. Peer pressure's got a lot on you. It's just that your values are the things that help you create those boundaries between the things that you can do and things you cannot do. And it helps you create the boundaries between the things that you can compromise and the things that you cannot compromise. It doesn't necessarily mean that people cannot influence you. They can, but when you have values towards certain things, now you're able to recognize when people are trying to influence you. Not even influence you, like you're able to set the boundaries between this is what I can and this is what I cannot do. But when you do not have certain values towards certain things, you realize that you just fall prey to a lot of things. And these things can be so subtle, like it can be as subtle as eating, taking junks. It could be anything. It could be something so trivial that you don't even understand, like these things have impact in your life. So if you're able to have values towards a lot of things, like have core values towards a lot of things, I mean, you save yourself from not just the influence of being negatively influenced, but you end up building these boundaries around a lot of things and how you want your life to go. And yes, that's where you can come out and say, I am unapologetically this or that. All right. Now, being unapologetic does not have to mean your ability to show some skin and be free from judgment without caring about what every other person thinks. I agree that you should not care about other people's opinion because it's a recipe for a lifetime dissatisfaction. But please, let's stop equating being unapologetic to your ability to be able to be promiscuous, your ability to be able to say certain things to certain people, your ability to not listen to counsel of your elders, your ability to just, be anything and anything without condemnation or judgment. I'm not saying we should judge others, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? Okay, tip number 2 is take on adventures that look like you. Your adventures could be anything. It could be risk, it could be you wanting to explore different things or different options in your life, but take on adventures that look like you. For example, I know there are things I would never try till I die, even if I get the opportunity to, because they're not the kind of risk I want to take. For example, like, let me give you a practical example: skydiving, jumping off a plane. There are other like scary things that people put on their bucket list. Those are not adventures that look like me. Those are not risks I'm willing to take. Take on risks that look like you. Don't take on risk simply because, man, everybody seems to be doing it. You're trying to explore. Don't explore everything. Take on things that you know that resemble you, that look like what you can do, things you can chest. Okay? So please, like, own it. There's no shame in saying, no, thank you, I can't do it. It's not my thing. It's not for me. It's not. Like, a lot of times people don't even know what's for them and what's not, because everybody else seems to be doing it and it seems to be fun and it fits into the definition of cool. You want to like just fit in, just do it. No, if it's not something that looks like you, if it's not an adventure that you think you would resonate with, like you see yourself doing, don't do it. Don't. And tip number 3, I think this is the most important tip. Number 3, define your ideal self. Okay, so I'm going to slow down a little bit. Your ideal self is the mental image you have of a future you. I'll take that again. Your ideal self is the mental picture you have of a future you. Let me paint a very beautiful picture, right? So, I'm still growing. My ideal self is this person that I see owning this media empire. Like, I put myself in the position of like Oprah Winfrey of my time. Like, when that time comes, that's the ideal self. That's my ideal self. I'm not saying I want to be Oprah, but like, this is just like a picture of who I think I want to be. Like, this is where I see myself, like owning a TV show, having an empire, doing a lot of things in the media, right? When you have that idea in your head, like, I think it just helps you narrow your life towards this path where you know it's leading you towards that path, right? And also, I would not want to take this out from the equation is sometimes I think we need to ask God what his plans are for us. And here's a little bit of a bonus tip. So I wouldn't call it tip number 4, but just a bonus tip. Always include God in all of the things that you do. Like, sometimes you might have all these plans, you might make all these arrangements, you might, have everything all worked out, but when you don't consult God and ask Him His plans for your life, I don't know, everything tends to be not what you expect, because we always want things the way we feel like we want them to go. But God always has the perfect plans for our life. He's the master planner. He's the one who has created us. He's the one who has designed our life in the way that He feels it would best be. So it's necessary that you always ask God for direction and ask Him for His plans for your life. Wow, thank you so much. In case you listen to the end, or you stay to the end, I do appreciate that. Do let me know if you find these tips really helpful or helpful at all. So leave me a comment in the comment section, and also remember to hit that notification button, and of course please subscribe and like.